Hello, welcome to the Greatest You Academy. I'm Mia Sines and this is Lori Montry. And we're really excited that you guys are here today in class. And boy, hasn't it been an amazing, I've seen a lot of shifts in people in the last week or two since the last class. I'd like to share a little exciting thing, everyone, and that is we all have goals in this program, and we all want to shift and change things. And Lori and I want to share your accolades with everyone as you begin to make your progression forward. So let us know all the good things that are going on. I want to share with you that Lauren came wanting to create a book, and her book is going to be published within the next month, if not sooner. So yay, Lauren, on your progress and everything. It's really, really beautiful.
Thank you. I'm super excited.
Yes, you should be. And it's just, evidence, right? Of when you are ready for something and you're just operating from that place within you. It's like, I'm doing this. And so there's literally nothing you can't do. Take this example in your life of the power that you harness within yourself to do this project and to see it into being, just remember that and keep that. When things seem like, oh, I could never do that, or, ooh, that feels like a big stretch. You say, remember who you are. And this is one of the many examples, the evidence journaling that we do of who you really are. When we're showing up as our greatest selves, we have so many examples of what we're capable of. And then in other areas, right, we may feel that in some areas. And then in another area, we're like, oh, but over here, I'm not great over here, right? So keep that close to your heart, but don't stop there, because there's much more to come from you.
That's right. That's right.
I have a question.
Yes.
So Lauren, can I get an autographed copy when it comes out?
Oh yeah, I
can say we knew you when.
I'll get a copy.
Perfect.
Just can't tell him my real name, okay?
Oh yeah, no.
She's using a pen name. So
Awesome.
Which is very cool. Yeah.
And I'd love to just take this one little moment to ask for you guys each to recommit and to rethink about, what is my goal, right? What am I working towards? That could be feeling more secure in life. That could be feeling safe. That could be creating a beautiful work of expression, like a book. It could be creating a relationship, a certain health goal, something at work, or just becoming more peaceful and having more clarity. It can be any of those things. But if we're not really tapped into a certain goal, if we're not working towards something, then we're just kind of going along. So I ask you these next couple of weeks to, something inside you really spoke to you when you signed up to be here with us and go through the material. What was it? And just make sure that is front and center for you right now. And you're relating to that goal as you go through the material.
Beautiful. Yeah. It is really important to be aware of where we are and how we're moving through things. And a couple of the questions actually sort of relate to what Lori just said. And I want to start with the first one, because I know personally, you all know that I've struggled with cancer, and I'm coming out on the other side, at least, of getting my health back and my awareness back. And we have some other people in this academy who aren't well either. And so that's why they're here, is to get healthy. And so one of them is, I've been struggling with a pretty serious illness, and I still want to live my life. How can I keep hope alive when I can't feel it? Isn't that an amazing question? Because I'll start out simply because I'm on fire about this, and then Lori can hop in too.
Yeah, and I would just say too, I know, like we said, we have people struggling with illness. We have people struggling with chronic pain, which also can steal, right? The hope of anything. very similar. So I just want to point out that if you're
And
somebody
even
who's either
mental.
one, we're talking,
Right.
absolutely.
And even mental, anything that takes you away from the presence of your greatness of life,
Yes.
literally, anything. Toxic conversations, people in our life, the way we live, who's in our home, how do they react to us, how do they treat us? It's not just the body that gets confused, it's the mind that is affected because the body is out of whack. And if the mind is out of whack, in addition, it's really a place that we need to settle down quietly. And it's like the thing that Lori was talking about, the goals, right? To look at it and to investigate. I would like to say that during my experience, and I was talking to Lori recently about, hey, let's hop on and talk about, this is why this is so cool to me. Let's talk about serious illness, because the way in which I was seeing it, and my goal and my estimation and how I've dealt with it is I've had to hold on to the fact that I've been healthy and that I've been down and I've come up before. So it's almost like manifesting and creating. We have to get
Yes.
into the presence of the energy of what is going on and where we've been. When we manifest, we create it from energy and feelings and emotions of when we've done it before, when we've had an explosion, such as I've shared, I don't know if I've shared it in here, but I've shared it before. When I got my car, which is a Camaro, 2014, it's not a brand new one, but it's still allowed, but it was new at the time. I walked into the dealership. I knew I was going to get a car. I didn't know which car I was going to get. I knew it was going to be a sports car. And I said to the guy, when I saw this Red Rock metallic Camaro, I said, I want that car. I said, I have a certain amount to put down, a nice chunk, and I want that car. And so from that moment forward, the whole energy changed, because I knew I was going to walk out with that car. No matter what, that was my car. And so I sat down at his desk, and my husband sat down next to me, and I said, first of all, he is not buying the car. I am. This is my deal. And so I said, I'll be honest with you. You ask me anything and I'll tell you. I'm self-employed. I'll even tell you the color of, I'm quite boisterous at times. I'll even tell you the color of my underwear. I'm that forward. And so they're like, oh, okay. And so as we talked through it, I did not even show them my TRW. I mean, I did not show them my taxes. I did not show them pay stubs. They asked to see my bank account, and that was it. It was very simple, very fast. It was at night. I took the car home. I had made no payments down. I did sign the contracts though. The next morning I was there with the check, and the car was legally mine. So I use that energy of that creation for a lot of stuff, because it was the most magical thing to walk in like a princess and say, I'm taking that car and I have the
Certainty,
ability.
right?
Let's
It was the
work together.
certainty.
Correct. The certainty. Yeah. And it's an emotion, isn't it?
Yes, it was the
It's an
emotion of, yes. Yeah. And how did can you relate at this point right now? What were the emotions for you walking in as the process was going on, and maybe even before that? What was the emotions? Was it confidence? Was it just excitement for driving around, thrill? What was it?
It was confidence first. It was a sense within myself that was not just that I was going to get the car, but that I deserved the car. Literally, that it was.
Oh, yes,
mine.
that's actually another topic for today. That's great.
Oh, good.
Deserve, yes.
I deserve the car, and that it was already mine. Whichever car I chose. We had rented a Challenger for about 3 weeks to test that big bad boy out. And I didn't even test drive the Camaro. I walked in and I looked at it and I said, that's the car for me. And sometimes women buy looks, right? So I was like, that's the car for me. I was assured of myself. I was assured of the product, and it was already a fit.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
And I just knew I was not leaving without that car. Not that I was going to tie myself to the car, but I knew that it would work out, right? I knew that in creation, things are in our natural flow. And so I already had that excitement for days about the car, or a car that I was going to get. And so when this one opened up and presented itself, it was almost like when you find a puppy and you know that that animal or a kitten, and you know that that's the one that you want, that you've been waiting for, there's no mistake. Or a girlfriend that comes into your life and you're just like, oh my God, where have you been my whole life? That's all creation energy. That's magnificence.
Yeah, yeah.
And so in the sickness, it would be, what does it feel like when you're well? How joyous can you be? So sometimes I go back to that emotion of when I when I got the Camaro, because that energy was so powerful that I remembered that I was alive. So we need to remember the life within us and the life flow that we have. Some people call it prana, right? And so that's that energy of that life flow within us. And I had to remember that. And even recently, Lori's helped me get a hold of, this is not the way that you're always going to be. This is just a temporary thing. Those may not have been the specific words, but that was the energy that we would talk about. And then remembering, if I'd have a good day, and then bringing that energy into another day and not allowing myself just to be in bed sound asleep, to try to be as progressive as possible. Take each step forward if you're ill, in your illness, to move forward. We have one person going through surgery right now. She went through surgery the last class, and I think she's in surgery today. And it's the same thing. She's holding on that she has been well, and these surgeries will help her progress to a better state of being up and around. So do you hear that, sweet one who wrote this? It's about the energy of knowing your wellness, your wholeness, your completeness, your strength, your energy, your divinity, your grace, your soul. Get playing in your mind, if you can, about these things. And if you can't, we like to take you into a place where you can clear all of that to create whatever you need, such as watch something funny on TV to get yourself out of that space when you're not mentally well. So when you're sick, your mind is off too. So when your mental state is off, you've got to bring yourself back to joy and back to presence. Sometimes the only way to do that is to listen to meditation, to talk to a friend, to watch something funny, to ingratiate yourself with a different emotion opposite of what you're with. And in that space, you can begin to feel the life again and grab the hope and energy and knowledge that that is where you want to be, and that's where you've been, and that's where you're going to be. And it also supports the illness part, any illness, whether it's a long-lasting flu or COVID. Most of us will come out of it eventually, of whatever we're dealing with. Otherwise, the other side is something else. So, and I'm not saying that to be scary. I'm just saying there's two sides of life, right? There's living and there's not living. So where do you want to be? Make sure you have in your goals, your knowledge, your awareness, the expansion of where you want to be.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So much. Let me just say before I forget that, Mia said, when your body isn't well, your mind isn't well. And I think, we can really explain this by looking at the nervous system. Of course, I'm going to go back to the nervous system, right? Because it's the foundation of all of our work, but it's brilliant that when we're in a challenged position with our bodies, right? Whether, let's just take in this example, a broken leg. Okay. And we're hunters and gatherers. We have a broken leg. Our thoughts are going to be more dire. We're going to assume there's more danger. We're going to assume we're always going to be in this position. Our body and brain want to work together in our nervous system to make sure, like, you be on high alert, because you have to hear that noise that could be a danger. You have to hear it much earlier because your leg is broken. You have to assume that, these dangers, and you have to assume more dangers to get yourself out, because you can't move as fast, because you don't have the same capability. And so that's why we just feel more activated. We feel like, things are dangerous. And we also feel like this is always going to be my my state of affairs, right? This is where I'm going to be. And if we go back to what we've talked about in the past and what you learned in the module on your nervous system, is during those times and when we're struggling with body challenges, right? We're more tuned in, we're more operating from our primitive brain than our prefrontal cortex. And the primitive brain has access and is looking at what's going on right now. It's looking at this sphere right here, right now in this moment. It isn't expansive like our greatest you brain, right? The prefrontal cortex. So this is why what Mia is saying and what we want you to walk away from today is so important, because if that's your state and if you're primarily operating from your primitive brain, then you're going to feel the hope is going to be very limited, because hope doesn't exist in the survival brain. Hope exists in your evolved, beautiful, incredible brilliance. And so that's why it's so important to get into that, to gain access, regain access to that part of you. How do we do that, right? And actually, I'll mention, first of all, Module 6 is up and ready for you to dive into if you're somebody who's been kind of moving along that trajectory. Module 7 is coming very soon, and it is, how do I live in elevated states of emotion? This is not my normal way of being, or I'm struggling with it right now because of an illness, because of a situation in my life, whatever. How do I get back into that those elevated emotions? Because in those emotions, and like Mia was saying, the confidence and the worthiness that she felt and the certainty that she felt literally created a situation. And that's the only way that we create anything of meaning, is from that place. And so we want to harness those powers. We want to step into that. And so module 7 is some really valuable tools for how you can shift yourself into those states. Now, I want to say, Mia also said some really beautiful things about remembering that you are grace, divinity, joy, pure light, all of these things that we really are. And notice that she didn't say, because you're healthy, you're these things, right? You are those things anywhere, everywhere, all day long. And when you, we don't want to attach those to any particular circumstance. So we want to remember that that's who you are, regardless of what happens to be going on in your body in the current situation. You are always those things. And so tapping back into that remembrance of who you really are and your greatness and your ability, even when you're feeling physically not yourself, to be reminding yourself. And, a lot of people, they've heard of manifestation, they've, thought about how all of this works and stuff. And what they try to do is say, oh gosh, I'm not feeling well, I have this sickness, I need to manifest the health of my, the healing of my leg, whatever it is, right? And so I have to focus right there. I have to focus on, what I want. But if your body is literally screaming at you and you're trying to focus on what you want, that's a really big ask. There's a big disconnect between where you are and where you want to be. And not that it can sometimes just cause the attention to be on the body, on the thing that is dragging you down and in that moment, right? And so a lot of times I suggest that if you've been working and you've been trying to, get yourself over here and it doesn't seem to be working and you're losing hope and nothing is shifting for you, that might be the time where you just step away from your health. You've put that out there. You've required it. You've said, I want this, right? But if the wanting of it is causing you to focus on what you don't have too much, then you're holding it away from yourself. So I would invite you to go somewhere over here where you can just focus on those things, that grace, divinity, the joy, the beauty that exists, and kind of leave the body or whatever it is. Maybe you're thinking about something else. And just kind of leave that there, because when you're focusing on these wonderful things and how your grace and divinity and the joy and the beauty in the world, all of that's going to come, that and everything else, right? So it's okay sometimes to kind of step back from, oh, I got to make this happen. I got to make this happen. Because what we're really doing is saying, it's not here yet. It's not here yet. And that's really frustrating. And so we're living in frustration as opposed to flow and beauty and joy. Because when we live there, everything comes. The health, the car, right down the line, all the things that's the more important place to be than it is even focusing on, sometimes those particulars, if those particulars are just kind of highlighting the struggle or the challenge. I hope that makes sense. Mia, check me here. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Very beautifully stated. Yeah.
Okay, good. And the other thing, like Mia was saying, that focus on this is just temporary. So you may want to go back and do some extra somatic work during the times when your body is, when you're feeling really challenged, right? Because if you can calm down your nervous system, then you're going to have more access to the part of you that's like, oh yeah, this is just a period of time. I don't have to feel so much danger right now. I can just let it be like, oh, this is a little period, a little phase in my life, and everything that I'm going through and all the treatment and all the ways that I'm supporting myself is furthering me on the journey to wellness. And if our nervous system is relaxed, we're going to be able to embrace those kinds of messages and that line of thinking much, much better. And it's going to help with pain. And it's going to help with healing, because when you're in that activated nervous system place, your resources are going to the things that help you survive, not healing, right? You have to be in the parasympathetic state, that beautiful calm alive zone, in order to heal most effectively. So if your nervous system is activated, your energy is going into the things that would help you escape, not the things that will help you heal. You're probably not getting the rest, the same quality of rest. Maybe you're not taking care of yourself in the same way. So your nervous system is an important part of work, and you'll hear me go on and on about it all the time, but it's true. So be thinking about when you're having challenges, whatever they are, your nervous system work is one of the most important ways that you can support yourself and help yourself move into those, the next phase, the elevated place where you want to be.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There's on one of the questions, it sort of is all three of them almost are sort of partners from what we've talked about. But this one is, I'm afraid I'm missing out on life. So here's another afraid. I don't have confidence in creating a new life, and I'm beginning to fear it, that I'll never get what I want. Again, we have to stay in the energy of what we want, that positive framework. You've all heard thoughts create things. Well, why don't I'd like you guys to look at that and to track it. So if you begin to feel happy and think happy thoughts and focus on happiness, will you be happy? If you begin to know and calm down that whatever you want to create, even a relationship, that's going to happen or happening, and then be specific with what you desire, watch it happen. Now, remember, relationships, if you ask for a relationship, you may get a relationship with the opposite sex. I mean, with the same sex, meaning if you're attracted to the opposite sex, you may get a girlfriend. Because
a meaningful connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you weren't specific that you were looking for the male, that you were just looking for a relationship. So it's really, really powerful to be aware. Thoughts do create things. So watch your thoughts and watch yourself elevate and expand open to what you want by playing with energy, bringing it in, thinking about things that make you happy. If walking through a rose garden that is totally in bloom, you can create this in your mind's eye. It doesn't have to be something that you are looking, all over the world for so you could walk through. Imagine a rose garden that is like the woods or something, that it's just, there's pathways to walk through, and there's these giant rose bushes everywhere and rose trees, and how gorgeous, and it's just flowing together, one bush into another. And that's what you would really desire to see. That's what I desire to see in this moment. That's why I guess I thought about it. So in my mind's eye, I can see myself walking in the woods that I almost called him my son, that I take my pup to, but instead of it being trees, it's roses. We can create amazing things in our mind's eye to shift and change where and what we want.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of getting out of your fear and creating what it is actually that you want.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say, that fear doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be something, oh no, this is bad. It actually really serves, because first of all, let me say, you were not created to live your life in fear, right? Each one of us was created to live our life with growth and expansion and beauty. That's what we are created for. Now, the fear has a place, right? It comes in because we need the contrast. We need to understand what we don't like. Life is like that appetizer platter, right? We're presented with this. We try things on. We're like, ooh, I do not like caviar. I like these baby corns, or I like this, particular cheese, or this, but whatever it is that we like. I don't care for that. So I'm not going to put my focus and intention. I'm not going to put more on my plate, right? But I do like this. And so that fear is actually serving. That fear is a powerful thing, because it's like, holy shit, I've got so many days to live and I want them to count. I want that big life. I want to wake up. I want when it's all over, I want to lay there and be like, yes, I did it all. These are the things that I was put here for. I lived out loud. I lived authentically. I lived powerfully. That's what we want. And that is what the fear is all about. It's about driving you to that. So don't take the energy of the fear and live from there. Take the energy of the fear and say, awesome, this is a great place to be. This is helping me highlight what I do want. It's waking me up. Because that's just this uncomfortable. We're not going to, most of us, hopefully, we're not going to just stay in that place of fear. We're going to let it work us. And that will provide us with the opportunity to say, okay, thank you, fear, for waking me up and getting me going on this freaking life that is all waiting for me right here. Thank goodness for you. Don't see it as, a bad thing or the enemy, and certainly don't focus on it, because that's what you're going to get more of, right? Let it serve. Like, okay, I'm feeling the fear. Whew, okay, what do I want? And get out your pen and start imagining. You don't have to figure it all out today, but these are the things that you do to move yourself into the excitement of what is to come. And, this is how it works. Whatever you're putting your focus and your attention on, that's what you get. It's not, am I saying yes or no to it? Whether you're saying yes or no to it does not matter. The only question is, am I putting my energy? Am I putting my attention on it? If the answer is yes, here you go. Here is more of it. I'm in the fear. I don't want this. I need that. Here's some more fear. Here's some more lack. Right? So that's what we're talking. This is such a great, I love that this is a theme today, right?
And it goes back to all of them.
It
all
does.
the questions.
It does.
Open. Yeah.
Living in, right? And really elevating ourselves to be in the space. How do I want to feel? Let me start feeling that way. And then that life, that new life that I'm afraid I'm missing out on, it's all going to come in. Like it's going to rain down on you, right? The umbrella you're holding up, it's already raining down on you. And your fear is like an umbrella that you're using to keep it from landing on you. So we want to move aside the umbrella. How do we do that? We live in the emotions that we want, right? The only reason why you want a new life or anything that you're imagining is because you want to feel a certain way. You want to feel fulfilled. You want to feel happy. You want to feel secure. You want to feel joy and all peace and all of those things. That's why you want those things. So start feeling that way first. And I know this is a skill. I know that we don't just turn a switch and we're like, oh, Lori and Mia said, I should start feeling this way. Got it. Awesome. There we go. Because these are all patterns, but that's why you're here. And that's why all of the work in the Greatest You in the initial, more than half of the program is helping you undo those old patterns, because
understanding your emotions.
Yes, exactly. So this is the place and the time to do that. This is your job, is to leave here today and to continue thinking about where am I getting kind of tripped up? Where is it hard for me to live in the emotions? What are the thoughts that I'm thinking that keep me from my elevated emotions? Right? Because that's where we have so much power. We have the ability to think whatever we want. And it takes some effort. And it takes, you've got a mythology in the coursework. These are the kinds of questions you can bring to us for support. Where are you getting tripped up? What takes you out of alignment with these elevated thoughts? And that's where we can look and really shine a light for you so that we can change that thinking and thereby change that emotion and thereby change your life reality.
And if you're not sure what you're exactly feeling, bring that up to us too,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
can really help you excavate what's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
It triggers
Mhm.
are really, really, really helpful. So triggers meaning, oh, I showed up in this space and I don't like the way
yeah,
I felt, or I don't like the way I reacted, right? Your emotions are your guidance. So anytime you're not feeling good, anytime you don't have to be blissed out of your mind every second, but when you're feeling something, whatever it is, fear, insecurity, unworthiness, all of those things, those are the places we get to look at and we get to say, awesome, where's this coming from? Could be just old patterns, in which case we have tools for that. It could be an old emotional wound, could be a part of you that needs to be heard and understood.
Mhm.
And actually, we're going to do some really powerful part work this Saturday in a half-day retreat, where you're going to have the opportunity to really go through those expansive, important parts work activities alongside of us, so that to the extent parts are holding you back and need some attention, we're going to give them the attention that they need in process and work through those.
So I want to go into a little bit deeper just for a second here about this retreat, because it is actually the parts work, and we're going to be bringing in the inner child as well. So together, nobody, excuse me, and I'll say it again, except for unless you're a therapist and you do this work, nobody teaches this stuff together. So they teach either one or they teach the other. So together is the element that Lori and I have discovered that is the zinger that actually knocks it back into place.
Yeah.
Together, the inner
quickly.
child and the
Yeah.
parts work. And so this weekend's retreat is going to be a 3.5 to 4 hour retreat. We are going to have a sound bath or breath work as well. And I believe we're also going to have a little bit of a sound bath as in addition to the parts work and the inner child work. So you're going to really be excavating a lot of work. This is not just a oh, let's watch Mia and Lori talk at Tuesday's Academy. This is where you get in and you come out and you're like, whoosh, I've just been through the tunnel of not just love, but through the tunnel of my whole body, and I'm coming out the other side. So this is also, I was telling a spiritual past client that this is also similar to soul reclamation, because as you change and heal these aspects with the parts in the inner child, you're actually getting closer to your soul and bringing it up to center. And then there are parts that are part of your soulful history that actually get released. Guess what? Isn't that what we all want? Okay, so I just wanted to share that because it is incredibly powerful. Usually people have major shifts, major healings, and they're blown away for weeks on end at these retreats. So I've been doing these retreats for probably about almost off and on for 10 years, a lot of recent years, and Lori too. So we're not newbies at this. This is a very powerful thing. Yes, Lauren.
You said that's this Saturday? What time and where?
It's online. It's from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m.
Okay.
Mia, when we send out today's replay, let's put that link in.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
And
so
it
it's
is-
easy to find.
And this is a paid retreat for the Academy to keep the Academy moving and processing, but the Academy members have an incredible discounted price because we want to make sure
Always.
that, yeah, always for any of the courses, the Academy members, and you guys are founding Academy members, so you'll always have access to the lower prices, even as we go along. It's going to be incredible.
Whatever we offer during yours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I wanted to bring up one more question that came through that's sort of attached to all of those. And yes, we'll get that in there, the link for that. Another one was, I work so hard on my emotions, and I find, and I feel sensitive to others' emotions that are either harsh or sometimes even egotistical. Is there a way not to feel like this? Again, get back to your emotions. Clear away those parts that are, so look, this is the way that I have seen this work. Because of who we are, we have our built up of stories and insecurities and pain and struggle and frustration. And we think from the way that we were raised. We're thinking from the aspect of our mother, our teachers, our church members, the news, our friends' parents. We're not thinking from the clear space of who we are. We're thinking from the elevated space, one layer on top of another, until we learn to clear it all away. So when you're looking at it from an evolved emotional intelligence, which is what the work is, if you want to get to the top level of the work that Lori and I do, it's emotional intelligence. All the other aspects are how you get there. And so when you raise your emotional intelligence, which is the foundation of this work, you become an evolved being. The emotions don't affect you. You start to see people's silliness as exactly that. And you make a choice. Do you want them in your life or not? And or was that something that was just a joke, or did it really mean to hurt me? Because some people, they'll lose their SHIT on a joke. And jokes are not that fun all the time. So you've got to understand who you are and how to get to that space of peace, which is going through your emotions and soothing them, not just soothing them like with a Band-Aid, but really looking at them, understanding them, and getting to a place that you work with your emotions and your emotions work with you, and you become synchronistic together instead of your emotions are over here, you're over here, the younger child, freaking out, going like this, like an amplified speaker going wah, 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 wah. Instead, you're more harmonic, like a symphony.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah, this is the work of the Academy, right? It's two things. When you want to show up powerfully in life, where you don't want to be a victim, not to circumstance, not to other people's emotions, not to anything that's going on around you, where you are just a place of power, strength, beauty, wisdom, all the things that are part of the greatest you, right? What does it take to get there so that you're not tossed about by other people, their reactions, what's going on in the world, what's going on even in your world? You have the ability to be this pillar that stands amid it all and feel strong and resourceful and capable and secure. Right? How do you get there? Exactly what Mia is saying. Number one, you have to know who you are. And that's, it's useful, I think, to go back to the module on the authentic self from time to time, because as you're changing and doing the work, you're getting better connection with your authentic self. And so it's really a great idea to go back, and especially to that exercise where you were invited to look at all these different areas of life, ask what your civic self and what your authentic self thought about all of these different areas, and get more and more connected to your values, asking the question, who am I? If I wrote a motto for myself, right, or a list of 5 things who I really am, what are my true core values? I value justice. I value, love. Above all else, I am love. Above all else, I am, and it can be anything, right? It can be kindness, it can be honesty, it can be, the list goes on and on. As a matter of fact, I think I want to send a tool to us, and that's like it's a free questionnaire that's developed by a really powerful institute that does a lot of work with this. But anyway, just how all of these kinds of things that help us really tie into who we are, because if we don't know who we are, how are we going to stand and act and navigate life as that person, right? How are we going to know with certainty, with clarity, with conviction that this is how I want to act in a certain situation if I've not taken the time to really know who I am? I might be persuaded by this person's emotions, or I might think, oh, if I stand in my values and really act authentically, this person might feel X, Y, or Z. But when we act from our true place of value, our greatest self, we are actually acting not only for our own benefit, our own best benefit, but for the benefit of everyone else as well. They may not know it at the time, but you know what? That's all we have to worry about. Our only job is to show up as our true greatest self. And the other people benefit whether they realize it or not. We don't have to be anymore concerned about, all of the reactions and all of the things. All we have to do is show up as ourselves when it's truly our greatest authentic selves. So there's that piece. Number one thing is knowing who you are, knowing your values, being willing, right, to be authentic and to stand in that place. And the other piece of that often pulls us away from that, makes it really hard to stand and navigate life in that place, is our triggers. Like Mia's saying, it's the triggers of, when we're standing in places and we're not actually standing there as our greatest self, as our wise, powerful, resourceful, beautiful, on and on and on. We're standing there as the 7-year-old that was put in the corner at school because of XYZ, or that was made fun of, or that was abandoned by their parents, or wasn't given optimal care, or the 12-year-old or the 15-year-old that had this experience, or bullied, or abused, whatever it was. When those parts have not been healed, when those parts are essentially driving the car, we're not able to access and act from our authentic self. So that's why, again, so much of the work here is understanding what are our limiting beliefs, what are my triggers, and then going back through parts work and inner child to heal those so that they are no longer the ones driving the car. We've taken them from the front seat. We've strapped them safely in the back, like we were talking about last week, and we are driving the car, our greatest selves, right? And so when that happens, when you've done the work to do that, and you stand powerfully as your greatest woman in this space, then that question goes away. You're not tossed about anymore, not by other people's emotions, reactions, life circumstance, nothing. You are just in charge and feeling, capable and secure navigating your life.
Beautiful. I was just about to ask, and it's like sometimes Lori and I hear each other sometimes without saying things. I was just going to ask, do you guys understand and know what the parts work is? Because sometimes people don't understand what parts work is. And so Lori did share that. But when you do get into the parts work, because it's part of the inner child, see, this type of psychology work is still up and groundbreaking in a sense, because there are lots of people who are now bringing it to the real world to heal others. So it's just like when the words self-love first came about in the 80s, when Oprah started talking about it on her show. People were like, what is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. That sounds really weird. When I started 13 years ago online as a coach, and I would talk about self-love, I'd get lots of men writing me and asking me if that was masturbation. And it was really like, what are you thinking of? So that's why I wanted to make sure that everyone who's listening in the Academy, because this is why you're here, is to heal these parts and these pieces of the inner child that still struggle with the emotion. When you come to someone like Lori and I, who've done coaching for years and who have had a big success rate, and I'm not saying that to be like, oh, pat me on the back or pat us on the back. What I want to show you is these pieces and these parts are so unique to each person, but you've got to focus in on who you are and where and how that you can heal them. And they're very easily accessible. And I'm not just saying that because I've done it so much that I'm excited. I've taken people through this stuff, and so is Lori. And that's why we really want you to get a good handle on your parts work and your inner child, so that the emotional level, literally the emotional level goes into relationships with our partners, the relationships, like if you want a deeper, richer relationship with your partner, a more intimate, connected one, get into your parts work, because once you break down your barriers, you're able to understand your partner's barriers and you're able to get in and reach them.
Or if you want a relationship, period, right? If you are operating from these triggered places, you're either not going to feel ready, you're going to be have a lot of fears around, rejection, or what if this happens, what if that happens. That is your triggered part, some younger version of you standing in that place, as opposed to your greatest self, your powerful, wise woman standing in that place. Everything that you want that you're holding yourself back from, everything that you want that is not a part of your current experience, is because you're not standing in that space as the greatest you. Because the greatest you is a deliberate creator of everything.
Yeah.
That's why we want to access and clear away everything. That's what the first, all the modules leading up to, the last 3 are all about, clearing away. So when you're ready to create, you're creating as your greatest self, as opposed to, a 6-year-old part, a 10-year-old part, a 24-year-old part, all these parts that are like, ooh, but that doesn't feel good. And who am I? Can I really? I'm not worthy of that. And on and all the things, right? And I don't say that to be like it's silly. It's humans. That's what we do.
Well, I want to reveal something, and only because I want you guys to understand. So you guys understand I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for years. I love this work, and I'm also a student. I'm a student of life. I'm a student of myself. I'm a student of all of this. Last year in 2021 was the most difficult year of my life. I ended up spending time with someone in their 20s. And guess what I acted like? A bratty 20-year-old. Here I am, this teacher teaching, and I have a friendship that's very close. And I realized that my 20-year-old, or in my 20s, those aspects I had to work on. I didn't have a life in my 20s. I got married at 18 and immediately started creating businesses, and I became a RN, and I worked my butt off to get somewhere, but I did not work on my own interior. And so it's really interesting that even someone like me, right? When I say that, because I've done this work, I teach this work, I had a part that came up that knocked me off of my keister, but I have grown so much beyond that. The pain of that relationship and everything is basically gone. What does that mean? That means that I can love more, I can be deeper, right?
Yes,
With
you
myself.
uncovered, you moved aside like clouds or whatever, another part that was blocking access to your greatest self. And we always have the opportunity to do that. And what was really cool about that is, number one, your example shows us like there is no other way but through. You have to do the work. I don't care how evolved, I don't care.
That's what I'm pointing at.
I don't care.
Thank you.
You have to do the work.
Yep.
And so no matter who you are, if that work has not been done yet, there's no way around it. You get to do it.
Or you get to live with the suffering of it.
Right. And when you're ready, you have to do it. So, and the other thing that was so cool about being having the privilege of being somewhat of a witness to this process was she knew it was going on. And so she stood in that place watching it. This is okay. This is what's going on. And here is, I need this experience to meet this part. And without the experiences, we don't get to meet the part. Here's what happens for most of us. We keep having the experience over and over, the opportunity to work on it, but we don't know that it's an opportunity to work on ourselves. And so we just get handed by the universe. Here's another situation. Is she gonna work through it? Is she gonna use this as the opportunity to get past this, to heal this part of her? Oh no, she didn't see it. Okay. All right, 4 or 5 months later. Okay, here's your chance again. Is she going to do it? And we spend, decades going through and doing that. We don't see it. We don't recognize it. We just be like, oh, I don't like that, or this is too much, or this is too painful. And we don't even know that it's an opportunity for us to up level. Everything is an opportunity for you to up level. Nothing is ever happening bad to you. Right. And I know that sounds crazy. They're like, wait a minute, I've had some shit happen to you. Nothing bad has ever happened to you. Everything that's happened to you is a chance for you to heal a part, know a part, love a part. And when you do that, you get, after that has been accomplished, then you get to be a better, greater version of you, better, greater version of you, better, greater version of you. And what happens is it's incredible how we can start to move through these things so quickly. A part of me, something that's so big and just, wow, needs so much, can be worked through in a matter of days, weeks, when I'm truly seeing it and truly honoring what it is there to teach me. So it's something that, you're doing your work now. It may feel like it takes a long time. It may feel big, hard, but every time you do it, you become a master. And to the point where you're like, Mia's like, whew, I stood in that place and I met that 20-year-old. I met her needs and I embraced her. And now she's a part of me. And now I am more powerful because of it. So it's, thank you for reminding us, right?
Yeah.
So for you standing in this place, what we want to do for you is help you see, where are my triggers? Where is my lack in my life? Where do I feel like I'm being held back? You may not know exactly what part. You may not have all of these answers for how to do the work. Of course, that's why you're here. That's why we're here for you. So opportunities like the coaching call, that also, I'll mention the other sessions that we have available for you, either half-hour sessions if you want to just explore something, or more intensives. Those are places where you can really bring this stuff in a more powerful way. If you feel like, the question is not quite enough, there's more. We anticipated that there would be some times when people would need to really lean into something. So we have the retreats, we have the other opportunities to really dig in. So make sure that you're thinking about that and thinking about, where are my triggers? Where am I not experiencing the life that I want? Because there's something there holding you back.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it is. You don't know what you don't know
Yeah,
until you know it.
Exactly. That's why I see coaching. Once I see it and know all the tools, I can, but we don't know what we don't know. We don't
But
see
that's
what we don't
smart when
see. Of
to
course.
seek coaching
Yes.
and support when we need it. That
Absolutely.
is so smart. And that's why coaches do it, because they wouldn't have gotten to where they are, right? They wouldn't have grown unless they've done the work.
Yeah.
And of course, not all in saying that, I also want to say, not everyone is on the same playing field, as a coach. So
Yes, I would say definitely, and that is true. That's why you get to do a little bit of research and make sure. And you should never, if you don't have any experience or working with somebody, make sure you can get to a comfort level that they are going to be leading you, that you're aligned with their vision of what they see for you. And it's never about them giving you answers. Never. The only person with answers is you. So your person, your facilitator, and that's what Mia and I strive to be, is going to be the person who asks the questions and gives you the opportunity to explore, but the answers always come from you.
yeah, incredibly powerful to get down and have the answers come forth. It's one of those, and I know each of you have experienced it, where all of a sudden the answers come forth. It feels right. It feels good. And you're like, thank you. That's it. Or do you say thank you? Give gratitude to the universe. Give gratitude to God. Whatever your higher self is, give gratitude to that when these come through and they break apart, because this is what is supposed to be happening. Enlightenment is a process. It doesn't come overnight. It's a lifelong, yes, a beautiful process. Wonderful. Are there any questions as we're coming to the end? Okay. Anything else, Lori?
I don't think so. Just thinking about the theme of today, which is elevated emotions. So make sure you dive into, depending on where you are, don't skip, but if module 6 lays the foundation for our emotional work, and then 7's going to help you move more into the elevated emotions. Don't rush this process, because there's a lot. You need to gather that material, understand it, and then apply your life experiences to it, right? That's
Beautiful.
how it has to work. So yeah, just keep up the good work. So nice to have all of you here and be thinking about, I think the questions this week were awesome. That's exactly it. I am struggling with XYZ, or I need to understand this more. So keep thinking about that. And I think the process of asking yourself, having yourself come up with a question
Mhm,
is really valuable.
mhm.
It puts you in a space of exploration that you wouldn't be otherwise. You don't have to wait for a burning question to come on your heart. Actually sit down with your work. It's part of that accountability piece and part of you showing up. Actually sit down with yourself and ask, how is this really going? Do I feel like everything is being implemented in the way? Am I still looking at triggers? Where in my life would I like something to be a little bit different? Those are the things to bring to these sessions so that you know how to move through them, right? That's how we use the knowledge that we're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I'll say it again too, when you take a minute to formulate what you really got out of today, right? What are you taking away? How did you hear what we spoke about today? Put that in the Greatest You Facebook group, because you're helping yourself to solidify it. And of course, you're also bringing up the whole world as they hear messages that, you know, in the way that they resonate with different people. They're going to resonate with, you know, certain segments of our group, and it is our mission, right, all together to elevate the world. That's what we're doing here. So you can do one little thing today by posting your distinctions. What did you really take away? What did you hear today? And then you know, I'd also love to hear everybody's their big beautiful goal that they're shooting for right now. You know, just that reaffirmation and that continued commitment to it. So,
And before we do that, I want to just ask everybody on the replay in here, one way that you can support this group is by clicking like on, we're going to start to come out with things that are in our books that we're writing, our works, things we talk about. We're putting them in memes. Click like on the meme so that it goes through the system. Read the stuff in the Academy and, you know, respond on it. You don't have to respond on all the memes or anything unless it moves you, but having more interaction with the Greatest You Academy stuff will really support us in moving forward. And that's a simple way. It's just a quick second of an energy. Oh yeah, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
put a
Yeah,
little heart there, because we love it and we love you guys. So
absolutely.
okay,
And
thank
we're
you,
also going to be
for that.
putting more and more material on the YouTube channel. So,
Yeah.
you
We're
know,
growing.
let people know also, you know, that is, we're just elevating the world when we invite people to look at themselves and to know that there's a version of them. They don't have to feel anything less than on fire every day.
And I want to also ask, if any of you are having difficulty finding the stuff in the learned world, please let us know so that we can show you and teach you where the recordings are, the additional recordings and things like that, the meditations.
Bonuses.
Yes, the bonuses, because we're creating them on a daily basis, so to speak. We're building this up, so we want you to actually enjoy them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. And
We'll see you next time.
yeah, thank you guys. Have a
If
beautiful.
anybody has any questions about the retreat on Saturday, let us know about that.
You were going to share your goals if you're still available. Anna, do you want to share your current goal?
Oh, Mia, I have
Yeah.
to run. I was thinking we would do that in the Facebook group.
Oh, excellent. Let's do that.
Yeah,
in the Facebook
yeah,
group.
to
Okay, super.
create that energy too. Like,
Okay.
I'm sure we're gonna get some more, and we can even send that out as a bigger.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Are we
question.
jumping over to Facebook Live or not? You're running somewhere else.
Let's
We can do that another time.
wrap up our meeting and then we can get onto that.
Okay, great. All right. See y'all later. Much love.
Bye, ladies.